their linebackers and safeties and corners were playing, we knew that we had the run game, and so we really just stayed with it. And if teams are going to play us like this, you're going to see us running the football, and we have the guys that can do it.
All right, well, our running back, Brian Westbrook, joins us now. So it's hard for me to believe I'm going to ask you this question. Good morning, first of all. Thanks for being with us. But is a run-heavy offense the way to go now for the Kansas City Chiefs, Brian?
Well, Jenna, I don't know that it's the way to go. But as I watched that game last night, all I could think of is what happened in 03 and 04 and 05 and 06? Where was this Andy Reid when I was playing for him, when he was just handing the ball off last night 26 times to Clyde Edwards-Helaire? But listen, I mean, if a defense is going to play you the way that the Bills played yesterday, which is basically saying we're not going to give up the big play to Tyreek Hill, we're not going to give up the big play to Travis Kelce, but we will allow you to hand the ball off to your running back 26 times and allow him to average 6.2 yards a carry, then that's the way you have to play. And for Andy Reid, as a head coach and play caller with him and Eric Bieniemy, you have to take what the defense is going to give you. And now when you see what Clyde Edwards-Helaire is able to do, you add in there Le'Veon Bell, it's just hard to think that anyone is going to be able to stop this offense, especially when they're playing like this. I loved what Andy Reid did last night. He said it's a little rainy, it's a little soggy, the ball's a little wet. We're just going to run the ball and make them stop us. And because they couldn't stop him, he continued to run it. This was classic, you can't stop me. This is kind of the thing that you do in Madden. When you're playing Madden, you say, okay, you can't stop this play, and I'm just going to keep running it until you can stop it. And the Bills never figured it out.
Man, this was big for the Chiefs. When we talk about sustained success, you think about the people who are able to reinvent themselves every year, every game, every play. The Patriots, we talked about this earlier. That's why they've been able to be so good for 20 years. And last night, Andy Reid showed his team that they're capable of getting it done through the air or on the ground. Now, yes, this defensive line was terrible. They were banged up. They had guys, healthy scratch. But at the end of the day, how they got it done and they committed to the run, it shows that they're capable of getting it done either way, because the NFL is not going to just sit back and let you continue to beat them the same way over and over and over again. Tyreek Hill running down the middle and throw a post. Tyreek Hill running down the middle and then going back to the corner, and then it's another touchdown. The NFL is not going to continue to let you do that. Travis Kelce split out wide as the Y and continue to run slants and hitches and goes and back shoulder. They're not going to let you do that. So you have to find other ways to win. This team the last 2 years have torched the NFL through the air, and last night they got it done on the ground. And for that reason, I think the NFL should be on notice. This is very scary because you don't know what you're going to get out of this team. And now you insert Le'Veon Bell. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Watch out, NFL.
All right. Nick, I know a win is a win, but as a diehard Chiefs fan who has fallen in love with the way that offense runs, are you a little worried that the Chiefs aren't blowing out their competition week in and week out?
Well, listen, that's in the NFL, that is an impossible standard. Blow people out every week. I know the Ravens appeared to do it last year, but their model wasn't, sustainable. We saw, and I think last night's game is a little misleading in this regard. The Chiefs had 7 actual drives. If you remove the kneel downs at the end of the game and the hurry drive with a minute left at the end of the first half, those 7 drives, they scored 3 touchdowns, kicked 2 field goals, and the Bills stopped them twice. They had a punt to start the game and a punt to start the second half. So we can show it on a points per drive basis. This offense this year is actually better than it was last year. We can put them side by side. This offense is actually a more efficient, better offense this year than the one last year. They're just having fewer drives because, A, teams are trying to grind the clock against them, and B, the Chiefs are grinding the clock a bit themselves by running the ball. But I will defend the Bills in this regard. They knew last night they had a massive quarterback mismatch, a real MVP versus a fraudulent MVP candidate. And so what they wanted to do was give themselves a chance at the end of the game. And despite the fact the Chiefs were running all over them, with 4 minutes left in that game, the Chiefs are up less than a touchdown, and they're in a 3rd and 12. And Mahomes had to work his magic, escaping the pocket, finding Demarcus Robinson. Later in that drive, they're in a 3rd and 6. And Mahomes has to rush for 9 yards to really put the game away and get him in field goal range. So I get why the Bills are saying, listen, playing this way, Wildes, gives us a chance to be close late. But I think, it didn't feel overwhelming as rushing for 260 yards should, because the Bills were able to stay within striking distance, kind of, despite the fact that Josh Allen played a miserable football game. I'm not worried about it. This was one of their toughest road games on the schedule, and they won the game by 2 scores. But yeah, it doesn't feel as good as winning 42-24, that's for sure.
Hey, Brian, I got a question for you. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 26 carries. He had that monster opening game against the Texans. Then he kind of went underground. He wasn't getting a ton of carries, wasn't picking up a ton of first downs, and they signed Le'Veon Bell. And the report is like he's fine with it. But I'm not ready to start making friendship bracelets between the guys. If I was Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I would look at this and be like, hey, old CEH can get it done. We don't necessarily need Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell's tweeting, I can't wait. Like, those carries have got to go somewhere. Do you think there's any, let's say this, on a scale of 1 to 10, how worried should we be about sort of like enough balls to go around?
Well, in the end, it's going to be a team game. It's going to be a game where Andy Reid has the ability to say, we're going to get the ball to Edwards-Helaire, we're going to get the ball to Le'Veon Bell, but it's going to come down to situational football. And there's going to be times where Bell is going to get more carries than Edwards-Helaire. There's going to be times where Edwards-Helaire gets more carries than Bell. That's just part of the game. I don't know that Edwards-Helaire, as a rookie, is in a position to say, hey, I need the ball 26 times every single game. I think he should be satisfied with his carries. But as long as his team is winning, at that point, really, does it even matter? I think that's the type of mindset that Andy Reid will coach into this football team. Yesterday, we didn't see very much of Tyreek Hill. I'm sure he wants to touch the ball a bunch. We didn't see as much of Travis Kelce, even though he had some big plays. I know he wants to touch the ball a lot. When you're playing with this type of team, you have to be able to say, I'm going to put my selfish desires, I want to put my numbers to the side. Right. I want to worry about winning football games, and that's what exactly they did yesterday evening.
Yeah, it seems like this team does a great job of checking their egos at the door. I've been on teams where at the wide receiver position, we all ate. We all, had 100 yards receiving, 7+ catches. Running backs, Matt Forte and our number 2 guy, Bilal Powell, had 100 yards. Like, we had some tremendous games, and I think that really good teams check their egos at the door. I've also been on bad teams where it was all about me, throw me the ball. So I think this team has a culture in the locker room that tells guys, like, look, if you want to be successful, if you want to be a part of what we're doing here, you got to be willing to play your role.
I also think, Jenna, just quickly, with Sammy Watkins being perpetually injured in and out of the lineup throughout his whole career, yesterday Byron Pringle and Demarcus Robinson were major parts of the passing game. I think you're going to see a lot of formations, Jenna, with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell both in the game.
That's good.
And they utilize Le'Veon as a true receiving option more than just a running option, which I think the Chiefs could use right now until Watkins gets back in particular.
Quickly, because we have Brian as